Okay, looks like we're up and running. Let's just check my voice. Yeah, my voice is working. Right, hello everybody. Welcome to another round of LR. This is round 5 of season 15 in tier 3. So, yeah, well, the situation with the standings is Peachy has a fairly decent lead, and his closest rival at the moment is his teammate Kanata, heading into this round. So, yeah, real BMW battle going on, kind of like a Hamilton-Rosberg situation. Peachy seems to be the faster driver so far this season. He does have the championship lead, but Kanata's had very consistent results as well to stay in the mix. Really fortunate to be in the BMWs, that's for sure. But let's go through the grid and see where everyone else lines up on the grid today. So we've got Marismo in 15th place, qualifying last again on his second race in tier 3. Maybe have to think about moving him down if there's enough drivers, basically, if we can balance the tiers. Or he can come through the field and prove me wrong in this round, so we'll have to wait and see. Then we've got the Jag of Cameron in 14th, really not getting along with the Jag this season. He had race wins last season, so a big fall off for him in terms of his form. Then we got Jezza in the Lambo in 13th. That's quite a good car around here, so could see him popping up in the top 10, which he usually ends up doing by the end of these kinds of races. Pretty poor qualifying for Pyro in P12 in the Mazda, usually in the top 5. So expecting him to come through as well. Ethan, pretty decent qualifying in the Jag, getting P11. Remember, Ethan was a podium finisher in tier 2 last season, got moved down to tier 3. We'll be looking to get a good result for the first time this season tonight. Spin, who's been on pole position before, lines up 10th in the Nissan. Then we've got Kanata, who's P2 in the championship, like we said, lining up in 9th place. Astro, on his second start in tier 3, is lining up 8th in the other RCZ. Then we got the Toyota FT1, another car that's pretty decent here. Both Toyotas quite good around this track. He's lining up 7th. And then we got Harry, who used to be my teammate ages ago. He's made his return to ALR and puts it straight into P6, out qualifying Spin in the same car. We got Senor Fak continuing his good form from last week, up in 5th place in the Renault, right next to his teammate Eroticos, looking to bounce back from a poor showing last week. Then we got Prime Call, pretty solid again in 3rd place, getting a lot of time out of that McLaren. Deco in the GR Supra, best qualifying of the season for him, in 2nd in the GR Supra, which is probably the quickest car around here, expecting some big things from Deco. And then we've got Peachy on pole position. Our championship leader extends it by a further point by getting that pole position. So let me just change that and then we'll get going. So round 5, tier 3, Sardegna. We've got the 5 lights on. And they're off and away we go. We've got a pretty decent start there from Peachy. Looks like much better start than Deco. We've got 3 wide into turn 1 just behind both Renaults, trying to get in the action as well, threatening to make it 4 wide as we head down into turn 1. Senor Fak really late on the brakes, gets P2 ahead of Deco, who gets pushed off into the gravel as those 3 cars wide there. And it looks like we've got Pyro in the wall as well. So let's rewind and see what happened with Pyro. He just loses it all on his own. That's unfortunate. So a lot of work to do. Cameron up into 13th because of all that. Marismo, pretty decent start for him, up into 12th as well from 15th on the grid. A little bit further up though, Kanata stays 8th. Harry stays has dropped a place to 7th. Astro is charging the Renault of Eroticos. Looks like he's just got that position. Eroticos now under pressure from Harry as we go around this really long left-hander. And they're still side by side heading into this really, really tight corner that's coming up. It looks like Harry's going to have the inside line, but Eroticos has his nose in front. It's like Harry hits the apex pretty nicely and gets that position. Eroticos trying a little bit of a switchback. It's not going to be a lot. There's a little bit of contact between them, and it looks like Eroticos going to have to slot in behind. Actually, he's still holding it around And now he has to slot behind. Yeah, single file line through that corner. A little bit further up, we've got Astro challenging Anonymous, who's had a lightning start up into P4. And Anonymous keeps the position. Astro actually gets pushed a little bit wide. And now Harry's going to try and get another overtake done. He does it pretty cleanly. Astro's going to have a chance coming round the straight here because he's pretty close to getting to the slipstream and get that position back from Harry. Looks like Harry's got the inside line for turn 1 as well, so pretty decent start here on his return. And they're still side by side, and now Erotico's going to try and take advantage of that because, yeah, Astro just a little bit out of shape there. He's probably going to lose this position now. They're still challenging side by side. Let's see if Eroticos can put his nose in front. No, he can't. He has to take a wide exit. Looks like Harry was pretty slow there. Kanata going to get around Eroticos as well, so unfortunately for Eroticos, he's going backwards, makes a little bit of contact, and Kanata having to go really wide around that corner. Needs to start making up some positions because his teammate is at the front, but Kanata under pressure from another driver. Now it's Ethan who's going to try and get an overtake done. Eroticos, sorry, just going backwards corner after corner, it seems like at the moment, and Spin is just behind as well, who might try a move next. Eroticos tucks in and gets that slot just behind Ethan there. A little bit further up, we got Senor Fak challenging Peachy, which is pretty good to see. Eroticos, of course, won the feature race last week. Very, very close to Peachy, and could be on a bit of an upward trend here. He seems to have had lots of pace these last couple of rounds, and before he was struggling to even get into the top 10. Prime Call potentially under a bit of pressure here from Anonymous. Anonymous going very well in this race. This is probably his strongest race so far on those opening 2 laps. Getting himself up into 4th place, and he's got the straight line speed on Prime Call in that FT1. So he just needs to stay close behind until an opportunity comes, and it might come fairly soon because he's definitely reeled in Prime Call in turn 1, 2 and 3. Prime Call having to go defensive there, and Anonymous off the brakes nice and early. Prime Call clattering the curb on the inside of that chicane. Prime Call staying defensive here. Looks like Peachy's starting to drop back a little bit as well. And here's the overspeed from Anonymous. He's got a great chance now. Prime Call going defensive. It is possible to overtake around the outside, but Anonymous was just a little bit too far back to take full advantage of that. Couldn't really get anything done on a switchback either. Harry's closing in fairly decently on these two as well, because Prime Call's probably losing a little bit of time going defensive in a lot of these corners. Looks like Prime Call took the that's probably the most difficult corner on the track to get spot on, but if you do get it spot on, you will gain loads of time on the cars around you. I think that's what happened to Senor Fak, because you might have a chance of getting the overtake done on PG here if he can stay in his slipstream. We know the rail struggles in a straight line, which is part of the reason why Eroticos was falling back. Back getting the fastest lap in the 40s already, pretty impressive stuff. We do have a side wind. Nothing can be done at the moment. Let's see what's happening a little bit further back. Kanata's made his way up into 6th. Astro's actually just dropped 3 positions here, so let's ride on board and see what's happened with Astro. He's gone off in turn 1. That's going to gift the place to Kanata. Ethan's going to slide through as well, and Eroticos is just going to have to slot in behind Eroticos, so that is a big mistake there for Astro. He's dropped 3 spots, and now he's got Jezza, who's on reverse grid pole at the moment, potentially challenging. And a little bit further down, Pyro's actually recovered pretty well from his lap 1 spin. He's up into 11th now, so just overtaking Cameron there for position. And Astro has lost a position to Jezza as well, so not a good couple of laps here for Astro. A little bit further forward, Rotico's now trying to get that position back off of Ethan as well. We've got Roticos and Ethan battling, and then just behind we've got Jezza and Astro as well. Astro trying to get that position back, unable to do so, but it looks like Roticos has got Ethan on the outside of that corner. He's up into P7 now, and he can start trying to chase down Kanata if he can nail these next few corners and build himself enough of a gap. That's helped by Ethan going really wide on the exit, going fully on the grass, which will have made his tyres slightly dirty. Jezza and Astro still battling side by side as well. Looks like Astro's finally got that position. Pyro might follow him through as well. Jezza losing 2 spots in 1, and Cameron fancies a position as well. Can't do it here because there's a corner coming up, but on the straight he's lost a bit of momentum actually to Jezza, so that might be that challenge over and done with for now. But yeah, everyone's pretty close together still. You can see a whole stream of cars behind Kanata here down the grid, and then there's a bit of a gap up to Harry, Anonyma and Prime Call. The top 5 all fairly close together still, but Peachy is starting to gap Senor Fak, who's starting to fall into the clutches of Prime Call a little bit here. Prime Call definitely closing the gap on Senor Fak here. And not the best of corners there for Prime Call. He was wide throughout that entire corner. It's allowed Anonyma to start to close the gap a little bit, and he could try and outbrake Prime Call here in the following corner. Prime Call going defensive once again. This is good news for Senor Fak in keeping that P2. Trying the switch back, it isn't going to work. Prime Call keeps that position. Harry really lurking close in the background because they're losing time. You can see Anonymous 3/10 down on his best. It seems like different cars are better at different sections of the track, because you can see the Renault closing in again with to Peachy. So yeah, it just struggles on the straights, but if you can get in the slipstream on the straights, then he's not going to lose any time that way either, which it seems like he's pretty much close to doing now. Unlike Prime Call, Harry and Anonyma here, they're not close enough to try and get a move done. We've got Astro in P9, Pyro is in 10th ahead of Jezza, who's under pressure still from Cameron. Cameron trying to move down the inside into turn 1, and he is going to still be fighting for it, because that was a great turn 1 from Jezza on the outside. Takes a lot of curb on that fast, I guess you could call it a chicane, kind of like a Senna S that they've just gone through. And Jezza keeps P11 for now, which is important because it could easily be P10 with any of the 10 drivers in front of him making a mistake between now and the end of the race. But yeah, he's fended off Cameron for now. Spin trying to catch Deco all the way down. We saw him really spoil his good qualifying by going wide into the gravel in turn 1, still struggling to recover, unlike Pyro, who's got himself into the top 10. Deco struggling a bit more, and then Marismo cut off quite a distance at the back, unfortunately. So Peachy coming under pressure in the battle for the race win. He's got slightly worse tyres than Senor Fak, and we know that both of these cars are pretty good on tyres, to be honest, but the Renault is slightly better. But we've got an MR versus FR, so that can depend on the track as well, because the FRs wear their fronts quicker and the MRs wear their rears quicker. Pretty fast lap, still in the 40s for Peachy. The fastest lap is a 40.2 by Deco, which is insane. I'm assuming that is slipstream assisted. Quicker than pretty much anyone managed in Tier 2, because we had a nasty little headwind in qualifying and in both races. So the statistics for this week have been very flattering to Tier 3 and to Tier 4, who didn't have such a handicap with the wind. So Senor Fak still keeping fairly close to Peachy. Peachy's just going to have to weather the storm for these last 3 laps. Prime Call looks like he's shaken Harry, and Anonymous lost the position somewhere. Just a bit of opportunism there from Harry. Oh, and a bit of contact as well. Not sure if that's going to be reported or not. It wasn't the greatest, and then well, Harry just sweeps through fairly comfortably there. A little bit further back, he is still trying to get that position back on Harry, one lap later. Kanata about to join in the fun as well, so Kanata trying to finish the race on a high in the top 5 at least. And the opportunity might come fairly soon. We know the FT1's got good top speed compared to the Nissan. Maybe he has to wait for the straight. If he can keep close enough in this really tricky section, he's going to have dirty air off that Nissan as well. What people say is that the Nissan's got the worst dirty air out of any car. Probably because it's a big brick with wheels on it. Yeah, he's staying close enough, Anonymous, so he's still got a chance to get that P4 back as we head round. That was the final braking point on the track. Now it's full throttle all the way down to turn 1. A huge downhill section followed by an uphill section that you can see on the home straight as well. He looks a little bit too far away from the Nissan. The Nissan takes that really fast corner quickly as well, so that will be helping Harry in his defences. Bit of a wide turn 1 for Harry. He's allowing Anonymous to start to close the gap again. See if there's any more battles going on further down. Looks like Spin and Deco having a little tussle into turn 1. So Deco trying to get the overtake done around the outside. Spin has the inside line for turn 1. And doesn't really hit the apex there, but gives Deco enough space. Deco's going to get on the throttle much better out of the exit and get that position done. But he takes a really wide line around that next corner, which allows Spin to stay close enough to think about a move. Nothing he could do there. Deco still gives him the room and goes really wide there, which is going to open the door for Spin to try and get a move around the outside of the next corner, which would be very impressive. Very difficult to go side by side into this corner, and Spin's going to have to tuck in behind and gives him a bump, which is going to propel Deco fairly far down the road. That wasn't in his plan, that's for sure. Cameron drops to 14th as well. Meanwhile, Senor Fax still probably just a second behind Peachy right as it stands. Anonyma dropping down more. Something's happened to Anonyma. So it looks like he's finally having a go at Harry. Harry's defending. Anonymous trying a switch back. And there's Kanata, who kind of pit maneuvers him, it's got to be said. Let's watch that from Kanata's point of view. So I'm Kanata. Oh, come on, which one is it? Here we go. Just watching and waiting, trying to take my corner normally. There's a car in the way, and yeah, he should have backed out of that for sure. That was, yeah, that would probably get a penalty. So Anonymous got some rear bumper damage. He's dropped all the way to 10th after what was by far his best sprint race, but yeah, for 7.5 laps at least. And yeah, it's unfortunate because it wasn't his fault. He was trying to get his position back. It all went wrong getting overtaken by Harry. He had the pace to stay ahead of him, and he was trying to do that, but yeah, unfortunate. But reverse grid pole might give a different kind of opportunity for Anonymous, so it's not over yet. A little bit further up, we're on the final lap now, so let's stick with this battle for the lead. There we go. Senor Fact stayed pretty much this close to Peachy for the entire race. Hasn't really had a go in challenging for the lead, hasn't got that close. So Peachy has, yeah, he's done well, he's been very composed in his driving. It's pretty decent, difficult to lead from the front when you've got a car chasing you down and always in your rear view mirror, not always sure what they're going to do or if they got a really good exit. But yeah, he's not really put a foot wrong, not really had any hairy moments, unlike how we've seen with some of the other cars in these last few laps. And still nothing that Senor Fat could do. There's only going to be really one more chance to get an overtake done. He's very close to Peachy. probably lose a little bit of time with the dirtier there. Actually, no, he stays incredibly close. Let's ride on board with Peachy, see if he can do it. He's going to take a wider entry into this final braking zone on the track. And it looks like Peachy got a slightly better exit, and that's going to aid him as we go around this final corner for the last time. Race down the hill for the checkered flag. It looks like it's going to go to Peachy. Massive congratulations. Peachy takes the checkered flag with a victory of less than a second over Senior Fac. Prime Call a super solid podium there. Harry stays P4 ahead of Eroticos, who's had a great end to the race up at P5. Kadata 6th, Ethan 7th, Astro 8th, Pyro just finished 9th, and Anonyma in 10th with reverse grid pole. Outside the points in the sprint are Jezza. Deco, after his P2 in qualifying, only could finish 12th. Spin having a bit of a nightmare as well, down in 13th. Cameron in 14th, and Marismo crossing the line in last place. Right, let's find the feature race then. There we are. That was quick. Right, here we are. So, this optimal strategy for every car is medium-medium, pitting exactly halfway through the race to preserve the tyres. Obviously, the undercut is very enticing for some guys, and the prospect of doing medium-soft, I saw done in practice. Soft might be an option as well. Tyre wear's pretty low, even on 5 times. So we've got Anonyma on the softs, so that will be interesting. I'm expecting him to drive away from the field then, in that case, but he should come in traffic a little bit later on. Mediums for Pyro, Astro, let's see if anyone else is feeling brave. Softs as well for Spin, so he's going to try and come through the field, another one to watch out for. And that's it. So we've got 24 laps, 40 minutes and change. Anonyma on the softs. If he gets overtaken by Pyro at the start of the race, it's going to go very badly for him. This is great news for Pyro as well. He just needs to keep the cars behind him. Looks like a bit of a dodgy start for Astro in comparison to Ethan. Ethan looking to get up into the top 3 in turn 1. Shorter run down to turn 1, obviously. Ethan just brakes much later and hits the corner beautifully to take P3 already. It looked like a Ferrari was in the wars there. Looks like Prime Call. Let's join and see what's happened to him. He's got a bunch of cars behind him that are all braking incredibly late compared to him. 3 into 1 does not go, and Prime Call has, unfortunately for him, and Senior Fac, who's dropped down to 13th as well. It's not, it's not been great. And Peachy, what's happened with Peachy? He was the other driver involved in that. So potentially something for the stewards room. I don't know. It might just be a racing incident, but he's really struggled to get going out of that turn 1 incident, despite not having any damage on his car. He's dropped behind everyone apart from Prime Call, who was also involved in that incident. A little bit further up, Anonyma seems to have a gap of a second or so. Looks like we've got Rotikos and Harry going side by side. Rotikos having the inside line here, and he has to be very careful not to punt Harry into the wall. Looks like Harry held it and keeps the position for now. Eroticos very close behind will have the slipstream. Will he be last of the late breakers? Looks like Astro's defended his P3 from Ethan now, for now even. So Ethan trying to get that position back. He stayed fairly close to Astro. Astro letting Pyro get away from him a little bit and going very wide on the exit of that corner, but Ethan did as well. Got Kanata Eroticos Spin on his soft tyres all the way up into 8th already, and Deco's progressed up to 9th, so Decent starts for them. Jezza gone very wide there, off track as well. Nearly collects Senor Fak, dropping down to 12th. And yeah, Peachy's got a lot of work to do there, so not a good start for the championship leader, Peachy. Nonima, meanwhile, a 47.5 is the fastest lap of the race so far. That's only the first lap though, so we're expecting to see multiple seconds knocked off of that time. Looks like something's happening a little bit further down. Eroticos versus Kanata. Looks like Harry's got past Kanata on the straight. Kanata's trying to get him back, and Eroticos is there for fun as well. And Harry takes the corner beautifully, stays in P5. Eroticos gets past Kanata, gets a little bit of revenge for Kanata overtaking him in the sprint race. Ethan's still fairly close to Astro. Astro with a little bit more breathing space now. Looks like both him and Pyro went wide at the exit of that corner. Ethan didn't look like he got the best exit either. Eroticos still putting loads of pressure on Harry though. So they were side by side through this exact corner a lap ago, and Harry won out there. Harry really wide on the exit, had to lift off the throttle, and that's going to allow Eroticos to try and get the inside line for the next corner. It's a drag race down to the braking zone. Renault already in 6th gear. And that was a pretty decent overtake from Eroticos, and he keeps traction and is starting to drive away from Harry. Kanata is the next one who's going to try and make a position here on these medium tyres. And yeah, he took that little section of the track a bit poorly, just like Eroticos took the entry poorly. Harry took the exit poorly. That might open the door for Kanata. Spins there on his soft tyres as well, so he's going to start to reel these guys in the next couple of corners. He's still got plenty of life left on those tyres. If he's doing soft, basically 8 laps on each tyre, but he's actually under pressure from Deco in this rapid GR Super. He's going to try and get a move done around the outside of Spin. Spin's going to get a better exit on his soft tyres and keep the position. Very wide entry from Spin, and Deco was sliding through the corner himself, so he couldn't take full advantage of that mistake. Another mistake on the exit by Spin, dipping 2 tyres in the dirt. It's pretty much as you were for now. A little bit further back, there's some battling going on. Jezza just getting past Cameron for P11. It's like Spin and Deco are challenging each other again. Deco having to go around the outside again. Goes very wide around the corner. And it wasn't enough once again to get past Spin. So Spin's strategy isn't paying off so much because he's battling car on slower tyres behind him rather than trying to move his way up the field. So he's going to have a difficult job here. I think he might be using his tyres a little bit more than he would have liked with all this defending as well. Heavier braking and all that kind of stuff. So it looks like he's gapped Deco through that section, which makes sense on the soft tyres. So he's going to survive once again. That's too far even for the GR Supra to reel in. Meanwhile, Kanata's just going to get completely outclassed speed-wise by that Nismo, losing loads of ground to Harry. And all that hard work in getting past him has been undone due to the straight line speed of the Renault, which must be pretty frustrating, but despite that, they've both caught up to Ethan. So Ethan is the next one on the target for Harry. Ethan was challenging Astro not too long ago, but he's dropped off now. Alright, let's ride on board with the Eroticos. Eroticos looked like he just grazed the side railings there. Will have lost him a bit of time. He's going to try and move. The Renault's got very, very good brakes. So does the Nissan, to be fair. But I think the Renault could outbrake him here if he's brave. he was half committed. It's caused Harry to go wide round the corner and keep him close, but yeah, it's not part of the track where it's going to be easy for them. Yeah, Rotiko's getting that corner all wrong, having to lift massively, and then wide on the exit gives Harry more breathing space. Looks like something's happened up front as well. Oh, Pyro's just lost it all on his own again. And it was an easy overtake in the end, it looks like, for Astro. But Pyro's not too far behind. Can he get an overtake done into turn 1? We know the Mazda's really good on the top end. As soon as you get into 5th gear, it really comes alive. It's quite far back. I think it might be just a little bit too far for this one. So Astro has an opportunity now over this next lap to start to build a lead. Anonyma has built a lead. He's still got the fastest lap of the race, which is a 140.9. So that's a decent time in the 40s. He's got, well, he's basically halfway through this soft stint, and he's almost halfway through the tyres. So yeah, if he is trying the soft, I'm not sure. The last lap might be a bit painful. He might lose a lot of time, but he's only a 10th down on his fastest at the moment, so it's still pretty grippy for him. He did lap 6/10 quicker than Astro in that previous lap, so it looks like the tyre advantage still lies with the softs, but not at the crossover point just yet. Pyro's probably dropped to a 1.5 seconds behind, and then there's a huge gap. Look at this. Erotika's still trying to get past Harry here, and Harry bumps Ethan off the track. That's not good to see. That would definitely get a penalty. Completely misses his braking point, it looks like. Braking late, trying to think about Erotika's behind him, but you have to think about the car in front as well. And there's contact with the car behind. Well, at least Ethan only lost the 1 spot. That was really good news for Erotika's. Oh, just as I say that, everyone's in the wall. What is going on? Right. Erotika's actually keeps P4 with that, but he's got damage, so I think he might lose it. Let's look from this angle, because this is a bit of a crazy incident. Yeah, Erotika's just goes really twitchy. Ethan just goes off in sympathy. There's Deco just getting multiple positions really easily there. I have a feeling he's going to overtake Rotiko's pretty soon as well, because Rotiko's has that damage to his front right tyre. Here we go. Here's the overspeed. One of the quickest cars in a straight line versus one of the slowest, and he's going to try and move around the outside. He is fairly far ahead at the moment. Erotika's has to go really tight into the corner and just kills his momentum. Deco up into P4. All of a sudden, he started outside the top 10. He started, I think, 12th. So that's pretty decent recovery so far from Deco after not being able to show this kind of pace in the sprint. So yeah, he's potentially got a chance of a podium here, because Anonyma, oh, actually Erotika's didn't lose too much time there. They're already dropping Harry, so we got Harry, Kanata and Senyor back up into P8 now as well. So Kanata really struggling to make his way through the field in this race. Harry's been going backwards as well on these medium tyres, so maybe doesn't enjoy them as much as the softs from the sprint. Kanata on the inside. Looks like Harry's going to hang it around the outside, and Kanata not able to get the move done. That was great defending there from Harry to keep that position. Oh, very wide there from Kanata. He's going to be in a bit of trouble now. There is Senyor Fak thinking about having a move, and he tucks in just behind Kanata for now. He's got a chance moving into lap 7 here of getting him on the straight, though. He's stayed pretty close. Can he reel him in? Kanata might be having a little bit of slipstream from Harry a bit further up forward as well. Not quite this time. Everyone going pretty wide into turn 1 there. The tyres are starting to not have as much grip as they used to. So they're going to have to factor that in next time they brake for turn 1. And this turn as well. All three of them pretty wide. A little bit further up, what is going on? So we got Pyro still fairly close to Astro, so the battle for P2 is well and truly on. It could be the battle for P1 because Anonyma up ahead is, well, he's still lapping in the 41s, still doing decently. 41.4 was his last, still 4/10 quicker than Astro on that previous lap. And yeah, Pyro a 10th slower again. Deco is the man on a charge. 41.1 is only 2/10 off Anonyma's fastest time on soft tyres, and he's on the mediums. Mediums last about twice as long as the soft tyres. Some tracks, the mediums are significantly slower. This isn't one of them because we've got such a long section of the track that's just full throttle, and not as many corners for the softs to really give us what they're worth. So I think people on the softs might struggle for that reason. The difference in tyre performance is not that great. So entering lap 8, which should be Anonyma's lap to pit. He's still got plenty of life on these tyres, so he's managed them pretty well at the front. The challenge will come for him after he makes his pit stop, because he's going to come out close to the back, if not at the back, and have to make overtakes on track. He might not have to put too much fuel in. It'll be a little splash and dash because he's at 50% exactly right now, and he's got the rest of the lap to go. We've got Astro P2, Pyro doing pretty solid in P3 despite losing that spot to Astro. He's been composed ever since. We've got Deco and Eroticos absolutely driving away from the pack that they were having some difficulties getting through. Eroticos grazing the railing again there, losing a bit of momentum on Deco. Then we got Kanata at the head of the pack now. He's ahead of Senor Fak. Peachy's just suddenly popped up in P8. Got Prime Call recovered to 10th now, just ahead of Ethan. So Ethan's definitely had a mistake somewhere and dropped right outside the top 10. Still trying to get one position back at least. Prime Call versus Ethan. Prime Call has a comfortable lead heading into the braking zone, and he isn't able to convert that into the lead now because Ethan has just done a great overtake under braking and kept it really well up around the outside of that really tight corner to get that position. Prime Call going to come under pressure now from Cameron in the other Jag. Anonyma is in the pits like we thought, so we'll have to see where he comes out. We'll stick with this battle for P10 at the moment. Everyone's pretty close. Prime Call might actually have a chance on Ethan. I think the Jag is fairly decent in a straight line, so the advantage should still lie with Ethan as we head down the hill. Yeah, Anonyma's even behind these guys. He might also be behind Marismo come the end of this. There's Marismo. Spin is a long way back. He's already made a pit stop, and Harry looks like he's already made a pit stop. So Harry on a new set of softs, same as Spin. So the Nissan not enjoying the tyres around here. And Anonyma comes out comfortably ahead of those guys. He's not too far behind Marismo. He's on the mediums, so he's trying something different. He's fully fueled. I'm not sure if he's going to try and make it all the way to the end of the race on this set of mediums. If he is, I'm not sure that it's going to work. He will be ahead of Pyro as long as he doesn't make any big mistakes, Pyro and Astro, when they eventually make their pit stops in a few laps time. But yeah, we'll have to see how that one goes. Really interesting strategy there. Astro meanwhile starting to gap Pyro. I think the gap's maybe like 3 or 4 seconds at this point. Pyro going wide again. He's not enjoying the exit of that corner, making a lot of mistakes there. Starting to get reeled in by Deco now, who's completely dropped Eroticos as well. Then behind there, Senor Fax managed to get past Kanata. Kanata coming under pressure from his teammate. These are the top two in the championship. Look, battling for position. And Kanata wins out for now, but he's really shaky on the exit. Jez is in there as well. Peachy super close. He's having a look. You can't overtake there though. And it's so difficult to stay close to a car in front when you're going around that corner with the dirty air. And that is going to allow Kanata to survive another lap, potentially. Jezza, meanwhile, trying to get a move done around the outside of Peachy. This is the Tier 4 champion from last season, spinning out. Yep. There we go. So what's happening with, yeah, Cameron's made another mistake somewhere. He's dropped behind Marismo now. Anonymous catching up to both of them, so he's now got 2 cars that he's going to have to pass fairly soon. A little bit further up, any decent battles going on. We've still got Peachy versus Kanata. Kanata really has to beat Peachy in this race after losing a chunk of points so far tonight. Peachy just biding his time for now. Kanata's starting to reel in Senor Fak as well, which might benefit Peachy. If Kanata's really close to Senor Fak as they go around that final corner, he'll lose a little bit of traction just like Peachy lost last time round. Looks like Kanata's having a really poor back section of the track. Peachy very close to him again, and this might be the same issue that he encounters again. And he is a little bit further back this time. Now, can he avoid... What is Kanata doing? He's going into the pits. What? This is far too early. This is far too early. He didn't need to do that. Well, okay. Senor Fak now, instead of having Kanata in his rearview mirrors, is probably going to have Peachy in his rearview mirrors. These were the top 2 in the sprint. They're now 5th and 6th on track. So both made fairly decent progress in this feature race from 9th and 10th. Trying the more conventional strategy for sure. I don't think I'll expect to see these 2 in before at least lap 11. Good feature race so far for the Renault boys in 4th and 5th actually. Astro just storming away with the lead. Deco actually closing in on Pyro very quickly now. So we saw Pyro have that little mistake, and maybe he's just struggled to stay on top of his car as the tyres are starting to wear. He does have slightly more worn tyres than Deco, which is a bit of a surprise. Yeah. Now, this is the most important corner of the lap for Deco. He looks like he reeled in Pyro under braking a little bit there. We know the Mazda has very bad brakes, but the Mazda was so much better on its acceleration than the GR Supra that Pyro's going to survive another lap for sure. Actually, no, he's going into the pits as well. It is the end of lap 11, so he's going to do another 12 on the second set of mediums. Let's just go a little bit further back and see. Ethan dropping back massively. He's got engine damage. Whoa. So he doesn't have damage here. Let's see what's happened to him. Oh. Right into the barriers. Completely spun around. He's got engine damage. This is not good when you've got loads of cars behind. There comes Cameron. There's Marismo. Marismo having a better feature race here. Then Anonyma, who's made his pit stop swooping round. So yeah, unfortunate for Ethan because he was doing fairly well until that moment. Now we know Pyro is currently in the pits, so we'll see where he comes out compared to Anonyma. There's Pyro coming out now. The gap's not a million miles. He's not a million miles away from the race lead. Obviously a bit slower to go down into turn 1 coming out of the pits. But Pyro's got a good chance of getting the net race lead when well, I was going to say when Anonymous would pits again, but I think it's more a case of when his tyres go off because they are quite a bit older than Pyro's, 4 laps older to be precise. Marismo really struggling outside that final corner. He still hasn't made his pit stop. His tyres crying a little bit, and Anonyma gets that position without losing too much time. So that was a good one for Anonymous. So Marismo will probably come in at the end of this lap and not bother Pyro too much. If my calculations are correct, unless any of these guys are thinking about a medium soft, they'll be having to stay out another maybe 3 laps. See, Peachy still behind Senor Fag, still fairly close to Senor Fag. Astro's come in, Deco's come in with much more fuel than Astro, so he'll close that gap. Erotico's in with truckloads of fuel. Looks like Senor Fag's staying out, and Peachy just decided at the very last second to stay out. He nearly clattered the pit wall. Let's just see that again. That's a bit crazy. I need to pause this. This is look at that. Look, that's how close he is to getting engine damage, basically. Oh, I can't go that way. Let's go this way. That's cutting it fine. You don't want to be doing that in a feature race when you're the championship leader, but he gets away with it. I don't know why he's decided to do that. But yeah, he's stayed out with Senor Fag. Everyone else is in the pits. So let's join again with Anonyma, because he should move up to P3 unless Cameron stays out another lap. Looks like Cameron is, so he should move up to P4 with Pyro just behind. There's Marismo going into the pits as well. There comes Astro. Astro is going to be really close with Pyro. Pyro's closing speed is massive, and he actually comfortably gets the position before the braking zone and nails the corner, so not distracted at all by that slow Peugeot coming out. So Pyro jumps Astro in the pits with that undercut. Very good idea in the end for Pyro. And now he can focus on trying to close down Anonyma. Deco sliding through the corners again. We keep seeing him slide through these corners. Not good for the tyres doing that. Spin is a solid P8 at the moment. He's already made his pit stop. He did a massive undercut on everybody. And his tyres are starting to cry a little bit, so we'll see what he decides to do for the rest of the race. Erotico's down in 9th. That's not worked out too well for him. I'm not sure what's happened to Erotico's. Or maybe that's just where he's meant to be. Then we got Kanata, Prime Call. All these guys are starting to be quite spaced out. Harry, who came in really early, is just 12th at the moment, and he's going to have to come in again fairly soon. Strategy not working out for him in the feature. Peachy finally in the pits. Marismo out in 14th, so he's ahead of someone, which is pretty good. It's Ethan, who we saw have that engine damage, which costs you so much time. So Senor Fag has gone out for another lap, so he's going to go on the softs, I think. He's going to stay out another lap after this, I reckon. I mean, he's in the 42s. It's not the worst pace in the world. Anonyma just did a 143, so he's not really enjoying these mediums. Actually, Senor Fag is still lapping quicker than our net race leader at the moment. Whoa, what's happened here? Right. Riding, let's see what happens. Astro has the overspeed, he's thinking about a move. And Pyro takes the corner. Astro just takes way too much through the corner, gets that position. Pyro drops a couple because of that. Yeah, that was not good. Deco's about to benefit massively from this because he's about to get Astro as well. Round the outside, and Astro keeps the position pretty well there. Pyro and Spin in close quarters as well. Now Deco's going to have a little run on Astro here. He's definitely got the overspeed. Had to give him a bump draft instead. Pyro's far enough back to not have to worry about him in this little battle. So we've got Astro on the inside, and as we enter the braking zone, who's going to be able to be later on the brakes? They both make the corner pretty well. It's so easy to overshoot there. Astro keeps the position, but Pyro's closed in massively because they went side by side through that one corner. So there might be a chance on the home straight here. Senor Fak has carried on again, by the way. So yeah, definitely, I think, going to pit at the end of lap 15 and try and do 9 on the softs. Here we go for Deco. He's got the overspeed. He's managed to stay close through the kink. Now, here's where the Supra just demolishes its competition. Deco's fully ahead before the braking zone, and Astro has no choice but to tuck in behind for now. Astro got a great exit from that corner, but Deco can't do you can't do anything about it because Deco's car's right there. Now we're heading into another potential overtaking zone. Pyro's just positioning his car, trying to distract the driver in front a little bit, and yeah, it didn't work, and we're still line astern. This is also good news for Anonyma if these three are going to keep compromising each other's corners, because he's got worse tyres. They should be able to reel him in. Bit of a poor exit there for Pyro. Unlike the top two, they're going to start gapping him down this long straight. Then we got Eroticos and Spin still fairly close behind as well. Not that close at the moment. Let's see what Anonyma's last lap was. It's 42.6 compared to a 42.8 for Deco. We've got that exit not too good either, yeah, but Astro also has stayed fairly gapped behind him. Everyone's pretty spaced out at the moment. Morismo still has P14 on Ethan. Last lap was 144 compared to Ethan at 141. So Ethan should get himself out of P15 at least. Senor Fak has carried on for a 16th lap. Last lap was in the 42s as well, so only 0.2 slower than Anonyma. So he's doing incredibly well on these very worn tyres. And Spin's come in for his second stop. So yeah, this is going pretty well for Senor Fak. He will lose a chunk of time and a bunch of positions, but he's going to be on fresh soft tyres. Especially in those first 4 laps, he could absolutely breeze past some of these guys. So maybe not out of contention for the win yet either. Got Anonyma still solidly in P2. Deco's completely dropped Pyro now. Pyro coming under a bit of pressure from Astro. We've got Eroticos down in 6th. Actually, what happened? Something's happened with Astro, because he's now behind Pyro and trying to get past again. Remember, these two are coming together not too long ago, and there's another one, and Pyro gets that position. That one's pretty fair. And now we've got Astro and Pyro battling again. Excuse me, I went a little bit too far forward there. Into the braking zone again. These two very evenly paced, it looks like. And that was a great overtake from Astro. Takes P4. Pyro still might get him back on the straight though. Fak is finally in the pit, so we have to keep an eye out for where he comes out. Both drivers slightly wide on the exit there. Now can Pyro keep close? Great exit again from Astro. This should be enough to keep him ahead. So we've got Anonyma is going to be our new race leader. He's going to be setting a lap of 142.8 compared to 141.2, which is why Deco is so close now. Astro not that far behind at all. Pyro is the same. Looks like Senor Fak's finally coming out of the pit lane. There's his teammate who gets ahead of him. So he's on the soft, so it'll be interesting to see what these two do. Because, yeah, Senor Fak's going to have massive pace on Eroticos at the moment. Probably for the rest of the race as well, to be honest. Kanata and Peachy just not doing much of anything. Kanata's dropped Peachy. Peachy's down in 8th. This is probably his worst feature race of the season. We know this isn't as strong for the M6s as some of the other tracks that we've raced at, but yeah, he did win the sprint still, so this is a bit of a surprising pace from Peachy. Potentially not enjoying the medium tyres like the other cars are. Bit further up though, we still have Pyro and Astro fairly close together, and the battle for the lead is really hotting up. Remember, the Toyota's tyres are 4 laps older than Deco's, who's also in the Toyota. So Deco should have the pace advantage. They're quite similar in terms of top speed. They're both Toyotas, they're both incredibly quick in a straight line. Looks like Deco took that corner a little bit better than Anonyma. So the fight for P1 is certainly on for the end of this race. Neither of them are gonna make a pit stop if they can help it. The overspeed is definitely with Deco right now. Anonymous looks like he's not even fighting it, to be honest. He's gonna just allow Deco to get past into turn 1, and we have a new race leader from near the back of the grid to P1. We don't do full reverse grids. We used to see that happen fairly often. We don't see it often anymore because usually the people who have bad sprint races are there on pace, but Deco had a nudge in turn 1 and ended up in the gravel all the way at the back, and now he's finally on lap 18 of the feature race made his way all the way to the front. Anonyma might be in a little bit of trouble. Astro is pretty close behind at the moment. Deco does have plenty of race wins at tier 3 level from last season. Anonyma hasn't won a race in ALR. Astro hasn't won a race in ALR. Pyro hasn't won a race since the beginning of last year. So in terms of bringing it home, it's definitely advantage to the guy in P1. Astro trying a move already. I don't know what happened there to Anonyma. Let's see. Looks like nothing happened to him. He just... oh, he hits the wall. That's what happened. Unforced error. And there's P2 for Astro. Potentially has a chance of getting his first... never mind. Never mind. Pyro is going to get an easy position here on Anonyma because he ended up... yeah. Bump. Oh no, now Pyro's off the track. Oh dear. Looks like Anonyma is going to tuck in beside him. I think he took the blame for that one. So yeah, mistakes starting to creep in. The race is winding to a close and the tyres are starting to go off once again. But yeah, top 3, Deco, Astro and Pyro now. Anonyma down to 4th. And looks like the Renaults are, yep, they have managed to do a coordinated overtake here, Senor Fac, on the softs. Oh, something's happened with Pyro. Right, let's go back. God, you take your eyes off him for 1 minute. Yeah, it slides through the corner, had to completely lift off the throttle, and that's gonna allow Anonyma to pull up beside him. Actually, he can't do it. He can't get an overtake done. Pyro survives for now. This is really good news for both Renaults, especially Fac on the softs. Now we've got Senor Fac already challenging Anonyma. Fresh softs versus very worn mediums. And it's going to be an easy overtake for Fac even before the braking zone, and he might get up into the podium positions before the end of the lap here. Pyro now is the next man on his list. His softs still look pretty good, still got like 85-ish% on the front tyres. Both of them incredibly wide again. Oh man. I said it was the most difficult corner on the track, but this is taking the piss a little bit. A really good corner there for Senor Fac. Pyro went a little bit wide, but the Mazda is going to creep away from the Renault right now. Meanwhile, we've got side-by-side action between Anonyma and Eroticos. I think Anonyma is having the fuel save because these cars are overtaking him very quickly on the straight. He did have to put in a full tank of fuel on lap 8. I don't think the FT1 is particularly known for having a good fuel tank. And that is probably a big part of the reason why he's dropping back so quick. Because his tyres, well, he shouldn't be in the 45s and 44s. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, battle for the podium is heating up. Senor Fack maybe thinking about moving around the outside here. It's not going to work. Trying to get the cutback. And yeah, it's another drag race. And he's going to have to tuck in behind, maybe try and get some last minute slipstream before the braking zone. He's going to be brave on the brakes. We know the Mazda's got bad brakes. Pyro's squeezing him. And they somehow make it round the corner. Eroticos has just caught up massively to these two because that was the slowest corner I think you'll see. Yeah, Eroticos struggling with the dirty air really badly there. Now he's going to get potentially caught again by Anonyma. Yeah, he's definitely short shifting. This probably still isn't his chance just yet. No. I was wondering how much time he'd gain being on the softs around that corner, but yeah, it's negligible. Erotico's just not getting caught at all by Anonyma. He's actually still hitting faster top speeds because Anonyma's fuel saving so much. Kanata in 7th. Peachy's actually caught him back up fairly nicely. Prime Color 9th. Jezza after a spin still in the top 10 ahead of Cameron, who's on softs. Interesting. I don't think they're going to be going full lap, so he'll be in the pits again. Spin should be fine. Ethan on the mediums might catch spin, I reckon. Then we got Marismo and Harry all the way at the back. So come into the pits. I think he must have made a mistake somewhere. I had to come in again. Either that or he's made a huge mistake on track. Pyro still holding off these two. Oh, that might be about to change. Pyro all out of shape coming out that corner. Really easy to do in the Mazda because it is the twitchiest car, I think, in GT7 right now, when it didn't used to be. Yeah, he's struggling. Really struggling, Pyro. But every lap he keeps Senor back behind is turning things a little bit more in his favour because the soft tyres do go off very quickly. He's got another 3 laps to go. Looks like someone's coming out the pits. That is Harry again for some reason. Sure, well, maybe he's trying to go for fastest lap. That was a great exit out of turn 1 for Senor Fack. He needs to try and get Pyro at this, in this infield section of the track, not on the straight, because he's got the speed advantage. It's just, wow. It's so frustrating when you've got that speed on a driver in front and they make a mistake and then you bump them down the pits, like put down the straight like that. Erotico's still stalking Senor Fack. Erotico's still in an outside chance of the championship as well. Same for Pyro. And they're doing what they need to do. They're beating the BMWs. They just need to do that pretty much every race for the rest of the season. Deco's going to shoot up as well. I'm pretty sure he was P6 coming into this. Didn't score in the sprint, but winning the feature is going to help. Oh, really wide there from Senor Fack. Both of them really struggling. Every time the car in front struggles through that corner, the one behind seems to go off as well. There we go. There's the half spin for Pyro, and that is P3 for Senor Fack. Erotico's going to get through as well. Pyro's going to try and get them on the straight. He's going to have the speed on both of these cars. He could well get the position back. He's out of the slipstream a little bit too early though. And now Orotko's trying to get past Senyoff back. We're 3 wide into turn 1. Pyro is, yeah, just completely outbrakes himself. The two Renaults as they were as well. But yeah, that was overly optimistic on the Mazda's, on the faith of Pyro in the Mazda brakes there. These two very close together. Orotko's is telling his teammate in no uncertain terms, bloody let me through. I have the pace on you now. We've got... Oh, and he hits the wall again. Pyro struggles in the very fast chicane. Orotko's struggles not hitting that barrier, it seems. He's done it about at least 5 times on this stream. See what's going on in the battle for P1. Deco seems to have a huge lead over Astro. We can't even see Astro. Astro is just coming through maybe 5-6 seconds behind. Then there's a massive gap again, even bigger, to Senyoff back in 3rd place. So yeah, Deco's going to win pretty comfortably considering he had to come from so far back. This is one of those races where as long as you just put in a normal race and don't make mistakes, you're winning it. Because I'm pretty sure every single driver has at least gone off track at some point, including Astro in P2, apart from Deco, potentially. The only driver not to make a mistake today. We're on the final lap. It looks like a foregone conclusion here. The Renaults are pretty much line astern. Anonyma is falling even more backwards, actually. So he's lost a place there to Peachy, who's got past Kanata. We missed a very important overtake there at some point then. Okay, let's see what's going on here. He's got Harry getting out the way of everyone who's lapping him. Got Kanata just ahead of Peachy at the moment. Remember, I was saying Kanata basically has to beat his teammate as at a minimum to keep up in the championship fight. And we're heading down to... Oh, he just absolutely chucks it in, and yeah, that's great. That is the perfect overtake, and could be a championship defining one on his teammate. He's going to get that place, and they're both going to get Anonyma here. It looks like Peachy's already got Anonyma into turn 1, which we saw before we rewound. Now Kanata really needs to get that position at a minimum, but this is stopping him from challenging his own teammate. Anonyma, we know, is fuel saving massively. He's actually got way more fuel than Kanata. Is Kanata even going to make the end? We'll have to wait and see. Kanata's got less fuel than his teammate as well. We've got the same fuel tank. Primecole's struggling down in 9th. He's not been able to make his way back through the field since his problem at the start of the race. So he's not managed to do it yet. Maybe on the line, potentially. Let's rejoin at the front though, because Deco is about to win for the first time this season. In the GR Supra, it's an incredibly quick car. It's got its downsides as well, but for a track like this, it is absolutely perfect. Well-deserved win for Deco, coming through the pack to take that. A very, very solid P2 for Astro podium. And here we go. We've got a little bit of team orders going on. Senyoff back favouring the number 1 driver there. Orotko's gets the podium. In fact, denied of 3 podiums in a row due to that. Pyro in P5 in the end, could have potentially, well, he should have been on the podium, potentially won it with less mistakes. Peachy P6 in the end. Anonyma ahead of Primecole. Then we got Jezza, and Kanata is out of fuel like I thought he was going to be. Pretty unfortunate for him. It looks like he might get 10th. He's going incredibly slowly, 80 kilometers an hour. There's Spin behind him. He gets P10. Spin in 11th. Then we've got the Jags, Ethan and Cameron. And then the two newest additions to Tier 3 are finishing at the rear. Harry already a lap down. We saw him getting out the way a bunch of times. Marismo ended up a long way off. He was doing pretty well at points. staying with the pack. I think he's got potential, just needs probably a bit more time and a bit more practice in ALR. But P14 for Marismo, so that leaves Peachy with quite a big lead in the championship. Actually, let me just get the standings up dead quick, because I'm not sure where everyone else stands apart from that. We've got, Peachy's got a 33-point gap on Kanata. He's got a 50-point gap on Eroticos, a 55-point gap on Pyro, and a 57-point gap on Primecall, despite Primecall missing a round. And then Deco is in 7th. He has actually dropped a place because of his, no scoring in in the sprint race. The team's championship is pretty one-sided, 269 for BMW compared to 174 for Renault and 173 for Nissan. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to be streaming again shortly because I've got ACC to do. Apart from that, next week we are in Alsace, very, very high tyre wear compared to this, so maybe different cars will come to the fore. We'll have to wait and see. Thanks for watching.